one of the things that I come to realize doing evangelism and working with youth is that these kids today, they need to understand. They don't need to be preached at, but they need to understand what's being said to them. So I always pray that God gives me a voice that's relevant, give me a way to say things to them that it makes sense, that they can hear and receive what's being said. So 7 Proverbs is just a testament to that. What God gave me was a way to regurgitate 7 Proverbs in a language that the typical youth out here can understand and receive. So here's 7 Proverbs. I used to know this dude named Kevin and this young temptress with interest in extramarital progressions. So trouble came for her and the brethren, a hard lesson. Let's see how the devil used sex as a weapon. See, Kevin had an issue with lust. He crossed a cutie with a booty and he felt it was his duty to crush. He lacked wisdom, restraint, common sense. The results, his immune system ain't been common sense. See, he was bitten on another man's wife. Couldn't see past the D cups to see that it had cost his life. Plus his game was tight. He been flirting with her for months and he knew what she liked, the money, cars, and ice, and well, you know her type. Pretty in the face, skinny in the waist. Plenty schemes, down for like anything. One night she in the club, next night with a thug, smoking drugs, sipping bub, getting burns on his rug. She got game too, a little more than average, making lies sound true. Look gentle, but she's savage. And she been plotting and planning on Kevin for the right time that she could let her game unwind. Then one particular night in mid-June, she was in one of the moods, and her husband had went on a little trip with his dudes. She knew Kevin be making his rounds down the block, so time for her to set up shop. She got oiled all up, lip gloss, perfume, lit the scented candles, put the Fredericks on with the slow jam tunes. Then the lights just right, started peeking through the drapes. Only thing left was getting young Kevin to take the bait. Now watch and discern. The minute Kevin hits the ass, she happens to take the trash out to the curb and greets him with a "Hey sexy," rubbing his arm. "How you been? Where you headed? In the rush? Got a minute to come in?" Talking slick, biting her lips, signaling eyes while the night wind made the silk robe cling to her thighs. Kevin's flesh was like, yes! But his head was like, nah. Then the temptress insisted they finished talking inside. Not to his surprise, shorty lays it all bare, falls to his lap, and proceeds to kissing him on his ear. Though Kevin felt strange, he couldn't help himself, especially when she started to help him buckle his belt. Before he knew it, he was in it, unprotected. The persuasion of her bedroom eyes went uncontested. But little did they know about the husband's text message from a neighbor who wanted to teach young Kevin a lesson. The lust got him going. In the midst of the moaning, I guess they neglected to hear the front door creep open. Caught red-handed, body sweat soaking. But before he could explain, young Kevin starts choking and finding it hard to breathe. Gasping for every breath, trying to figure out why he feel his life starting to leave. Or the reason for the pains in his chest. Till he noticed the bullet wounds as his sight faded with a final breath. The wages of sin is death. In this case by gun. Eternity and fire for adulterated fun. Now he begs the sun for relief from the burn. But judgment is set. The court's been adjourned. In her case, promiscuity led to her demise. A slow and painful death crept up her inner thigh. Or the late night thrills brought her to a standstill as time revealed the physical state would take ill. See, Kevin had an immune system deficiency which spawned from what is known as HIV. Though when the web was shared, this would occur. The husband killed him, but 3 years later, AIDS killed her. See, she could have been breathing. He could have been alive, could have repented their sins and been living for God. And when temptation came, they could have stood bold. If they had the Holy Spirit, they would have had self-control. They would have felt convicted. They would have thought it through. They would have foreseen the outcome or at least had a clue. He could have pulled the Joseph and just ran out the house. Or she could have took 1 minute to consider her spouse. Yielded to persuasion by every one of your flesh will only be concluded from life to a second death. But the gift of God is a life in eternity. Want to make the goal, you got to have self-control. So when the enemy comes to somebody else's wife or a handsome young dude with money, cars, and ice and greets you at your weakest point, eager to entice, remember Kevin's story today, tomorrow your life. Good night.
Yeah.